Hey, welcome Visions to this session of the Curriculum Fair. We are joined by Lexia this morning, who will be sharing a little bit more about their platform. So the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much for inviting me here today. My name is Allie. I am your account executive here at Lexia and excited to walk you through our different programs today. We'll take some questions at the end if there are any. So just to get right into things, Lexia was founded over 40 years ago, and with one key focus area, and that is literacy. That's all we do. All of our offerings are rooted in the science of reading. Today, we're going to spend our time focusing on the left-hand side of your screen. So all of our programs that we use to support students. What you're seeing on the right-hand side of our portfolio is how we support educators further in their learning of the science of reading. So just again to like frame us in this conversation here together, you may be familiar, you may have heard these terms, right, of science of reading or even structured literacy. And so I want to give you just like a bit of an understanding, like a base level understanding of those terms. So science of reading is really about the large body of research, 50 years of research in how students learn to read and write. Structured literacy, on the other side, is the application of that research. So, what our programs are really meant to do is bring that theory to life and help put that into practice for students. Our programs really follow the structured literacy principles of being explicit, systematic, cumulative, and diagnostic. And we follow those throughout. So, again, like very super simple, explicit, students are really learning concepts in a very clear, targeted model. It's systematic in that there's going to be a very clear scope and sequence that they follow. Cumulative in that they start with the simpler concepts and build on their knowledge. And finally, diagnostic in that you are going to have up to date data. You're going to be monitoring student progress and making adjustments as needed. And all of our programs are structured in the same way. We use what's called an adaptive blended learning model. What that means is that there's three steps to the process. One is students follow personalized learning paths on a device. So any internet connected device they can practice from. From there, the second step is that we provide you real-time data right away. And then lastly, there's a using that data, we're going to provide resources. So we know that a computer can take them so far, but really sometimes a teacher or a parent needs to step in to help with that instruction piece. And all of these lessons are aligned to the science of reading and delivered right to your fingertips. So little prep is needed. Another key differentiator about our programs is that we have something called embedded assessment. So, auto placement, we call it assessment without testing, and skill checks that are built in. What that means is that you don't have to stop for long periods of time and take a lengthy assessment to check where your kiddo is. You're going to have that data at your fingertips at all times. So it really takes the guesswork out of things. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty of what these programs are. The first one is called Core 5 Reading. What this is our literacy program to help support students in pre-K all the way up to fifth grade. It's a really effective program. Students are really commonly being able to experience at least two grade levels worth of material if they are hitting in a single year, if they're hitting that usage metric. So we're going to not only fill gaps, but accelerate learning. Power Up is our program that supports our 6th to 12th grade students. And this program, according to ESSA research, has been deemed as, one of the most effective intervention programs for students in secondary who are struggling with literacy. Both of these programs are structured again in that similar fashion. So we're going to start with Core 5 here. What we're going to see is that students were going to take an auto placement in order to begin the program. That program, once they take that auto placement, it sets them right at the correct place and they begin working from there. Core 5 is going to drop them, once they take that auto placement, it's going to drop them into that scope and sequence, which is going to address all the skills from pre-K to 5th grade. It's going to be broken up into 21 different levels and bucketed into 6 critical areas, all aligned to the science of reading. The other thing that I'll mention here is that vocabulary and comprehension are in every single level, going all the way down to preschool. So they're going to be getting exposed to those skills at a super early age, which helps build their knowledge from the get-go. The other thing is that we take these skills and put them into like a gamified environment. And it's the students will take like a little journey around the world. They earn certificates to celebrate their achievements. And there's really like excitement that kind of builds with them. Here's an example of that scope and sequence. So you'll see listed those 6 critical areas here. Now I'm going to kind of switch gears for a second and think through Power Up for a moment. So there is a slight difference here with our secondary students. There's quite a bit of skills that they have to cover, or that we need to check their understanding of. And so for that, their auto placement is slightly different. For our upper grade students, they're going to take 3 separate auto placements, one in word study, one in grammar, and one in comprehension. And the reason for that is we're assessing skills going all the way down to kindergarten level in this program, again, to catch any of those gaps that the student may have and be able to work from there. The auto placements take between 10 and 45 minutes, with comprehension being the longest one. And again, it really depends on their level there, but they only have to take it one time. The other thing that I want to share with you is once the students begin working in the platform, this is the way that our programs are structured. So we start at what we call standard instruction. They're going to be learning together. If the student does well, they're just going to continue on and keep moving. If they struggle, however, we're going to simplify the instruction. So let's pretend like they had 6 choices at the beginning. Now they're going to have 3 choices and see if that helps and they get it. If they do, they pop back up. If not, then they get a direct lesson. So they're instructed on the exact skill that they are struggling with. If that happens 2 times, the student needs that direct instruction 2 times. Do y'all see over on the right-hand side of your screen where it says Lexia lessons? This is where those offline lessons are triggered, and the teacher will be alerted, or we could set up the platform, particularly with parents too, to have access to some of these resources, and you can intervene with a 10-minute lesson right there, no prep needed. On the top here, you're going to see these skill builders. So if the student is progressing naturally through the program, we're going to go ahead and give them, again, offline pencil and paper practice to help make sure that they've solidified their learning. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a quick video, and this will kind of further, you'll get to see the student platform And then you'll also get to kind of see what that adaptive branching looks like for both Core 5 and Power Up.
Core 5's three-step instructional branching model ensures individualized learning experiences. The standard step provides practice time with the skill and is aligned with grade level standards. Students must demonstrate 90 to 100% accuracy at the standard step in order to move to the next unit. If students need support, the guided practice step simplifies the activity, providing scaffolds and modifications. It may remove choices, simplify visuals, reduce language complexity, or offer embedded support. If the student continues to have difficulty with a concept, the instruction step provides targeted, explicit instruction and further scaffolds the activity. When students branch to the instructional step more than once, the program alerts the educator in My Lexia and recommends a Lexia lesson for teacher-led instruction. Phonics activities in Core 5 help students build sound symbol knowledge while also teaching them to recognize patterns in words. This first grade activity focuses on building words with the silent E.
Awesome. So that was just to give you guys a little bit of a visual on Core 5. Now I want to take you over to Power Up really fast and just again give you an idea of what the student platform looks like.
In Power Up, students develop critical reading and language skills through an engaging and age-appropriate online student experience. An unparalleled level of personalization and adaptive instruction enables students to progress at their own pace. Students set and manage goals for themselves and are encouraged to take ownership of their learning. Over 100 high-interest, authentic, and original texts engage students in multiple genres, including poetry, drama, informational, narrative, and multimedia. Instructional videos inform and entertain with age-appropriate songs and humor. And game-based features motivate students to persevere through challenging content.
So before we get into, I know we have a short time today, so I want to show you guys some other features that I think will be really helpful to you in your environment. But before we do that, I just want to touch quickly on Lexia English, which is our program that really helps focus on building English language acquisition, primarily the listening and speaking portions. So students in this program need a headset with a microphone to be able to speak into because they're speaking 72% of the time on this program. And again, just like for a bit of background knowledge here, we used to be owned by Rosetta Stone for a short time. And so we use that same type of technology in this program to be able to pick up their language and what they're speaking. However, this program was specifically built to target academic English skills. So rather than just conversational English, it's meant to help the students access the content that is being taught in their regular subjects or their other subjects faster. And again, we'll use that same kind of adaptive blended learning structure and the adaptive branching. So it will, scaffold their learning within the program and provide you those resources as well. If this is something, any of you have questions about or want to learn more, like I'm always open to diving in deeper on this side because we always say like you can't have literacy without language first. All right, so from the next portion of the adaptive blended learning model, so we have our personalized learning component, then we also have the second piece, which is the ongoing data and monitoring progress. This, as of sits right now, lives with the teachers at Visions. However, if there are other kind of like homeschool environments where we're able to set up classroom environments for parents as well. so you could have access to this data and be able to monitor along with your students. So if that's something you guys want to ever explore, let us know. I think this is a great area for us to think about because we're able to see right at a quick glance. We say like 5 minute check-in every week to be able to see like, has my kiddo made enough progress? Like, are we hitting the usage? Did they struggle on anything? And was a lesson, prescribed for them? All of that is here. Did they continue? Are they doing really well? And that skill check, the pencil and paper practice, is that being suggested or provided to them? And then it'll also give you certificates. I have two twins, or I have twin boys. They're 6 years old, and we use Core 5 at home. I always joke, like, I need to take a picture of our fridge because we have like a bunch of the certificates like plastered on. And they just get really excited to kind of celebrate that moment and their progress. So I won't spend too much time on that piece right now, but if the Visions team is open to setting up parent access, we will go much more in detail and I can create like specific videos for you guys for how that data should look. This is where I do want to spend some time though, and that's on the additional resources. So when your kiddo is having trouble, this is where those lessons are going to be prescribed for them. So at this point, the teacher could download this and send it to you, and you could deliver these, or eventually we could potentially have you just have them right here. They're no prep. They're meant in a like I do, we do, you do type of format. There's a script there and even adaptations. So you can do these over and over again to really help your student. The other thing is this is an example of those offline pencil and paper practice activities, packets that you have that again require no prep besides printing them out and delivering that, to have that reinforcement or extend your kiddo's learning. The last thing I want to show you here is what we call the resource hub. And look, I know like I'm a parent too. I know you have a lot on your plates already. So in the resource hub, this is a free resource to you guys. You have things like comprehension packets, fluency practice, an entire decodable library, slide decks that you can pull up on specific skills to be able to, again, like have your lessons be delivered right there. And so if you either already have access to this program or you want to talk to your partner teacher here, ask them about the resource hub, which is found right in my Lexia. All of the data is, housed in one place, and we can come in here, click directly on that resource hub and explore it together. You guys, in this support for instruction section, this is where you're going to find all of those additional resources. And again, like not additional cost, just we want you to utilize these things because they're all aligned to research and the science and will really help accelerate your students' learning. All right. Quickly going through this, and I want to leave time if there are any questions. So when it comes to um usage of the platform for Core 5, our recommendation is typically around 30 to 60 minutes per week. So per week, and you can split that up however you see fit, and then checking the data at least one time a week, and then delivering either the lesson or the skill builder if needed. When we look at Power Up, which is that secondary program, typically it's around 75 minutes per week. If the student is significantly like needing a lot of support, the usage recommendation might be a little bit higher if their auto placement is a bit like if they have some skill gaps there. And then same thing, look at the data at least once a week and then delivering either that lesson or the skill builder. The thing that I love most about Lexia is that we were born out of a research study. Like our founder, his son was having reading difficulties, and the school wasn't able to support his child like in the way he needed. He went and got outside tutoring, which ended up being like the original Orton Gillingham methods. And he kept saying to himself, it's not fair that I can provide these supports to my student, but not every other kid can have these, right? And so that's where Lexia was born. We got a research grant and they continue to research the efficacy of these programs every single year, both in internal studies with our internal research team as well as independent third-party evaluations. The research continues to be published in peer-reviewed literacy publications. And so we really have a strong foundation in the efficacy of our programs. I want you guys to take a look at this chart, which is an example from just our California students. If you look on the left-hand side of this graph, the students that are placed in the dark gray are at least 2 grade levels below from their auto placement. The light gray is going to be at least 1 grade level below, and then the light blue is going to be on grade level. And you can see from the beginning of the year to the end of the year what a dramatic increase was made for these students. And so if you are hitting that 30 to 60 minutes per week, we feel really confident that students can experience not just 1 year of growth, but potentially 2 years worth of growth. The other takeaway here that's exciting is that if students are on target in the platform, and you're able to see that, we feel very confident that they're going to show proficiency on outside high stakes assessments as well. Um, and we have confidence of that. We study this every year. The other thing I'll show you quickly is that we encourage if you have an English learner in your household or you want to boost their language development, using Core 5 and Lexia English together has garnered very successful results, with students receiving both higher test scores on their ELA high stakes assessment as well as the LPAC, and that's sustained learning over time. So I'm going to pause. I know we have, a short time today together. So I want to make sure that we have time if there are any questions. And then again, please use me as a resource. I'll put up my email at the end of this. So you can always reach out if you have further questions or if you want to talk any further about the programs.
Thank
But
you,
I'll pause
Allie.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I'll go ahead and close out our recording so we can move to Q&A.